Your TRAX is sponsored by Polaris, think outside. Can-Am, time for some off-road living. And by Yamaha, revs your heart.
It's inevitable that the riding season comes to an end for us up here north of the border. And with winter just around the corner, the leaves changing and the weather starting to drop down, it's time to make another run to Princess Auto to grab those things that I'll need to change over to winter, along with some essentials for my next time on the trail. Princess Auto is a gearhead's one-stop shop for just about anything you can imagine under the sun, from tools to equipment and everything you could need to update, overhaul, or just restock your shop. From farming to welding, hydraulics to trailer parts, and tools you didn't know existed, but absolutely are certain you can put to use, Princess Auto offers us gearheads a little bit of everything. Now for today's trip, I'm looking for a few different things, but firstly I need to get prepped for winter, and that means a trip to the battery section. Offering just about any battery you could think of, the selection is massive. I know I need to pick up a new battery for the diesel tractor, but I also want to find myself a tender for my batteries I take out of the summer equipment. Leaving your batteries in the cold all winter with no use is pretty much a death sentence for starting in the spring. So pulling them out of your Powersports toys, lawn and garden equipment, or your summertime drive, and keeping them on a tender will increase the lifespan of your batteries massively. Now speaking of increasing lifespan, did you know that Princess Auto now carries their own line of ATV replacement parts? It's called Quad 1, and they have quite a selection. Their range of options is continually growing, but you're going to find a wide selection of parts like starter solenoids, fuel pumps, carb kits, all sort of filters, from fuel to air to oil, lug nuts and wheel studs, even universal joints, ball joints and bearings, and all sorts of CV boots and brake pads. The selection is growing, the quality is impressive, as is the stock available at your local PA store. Now I know that a lot of you don't put your ATV or side-by-side away for the winter, you just get it prepped for the winter. So keeping with that theme, I wanted to take a quick run over to the towing section because we all know that it's easy to get stuck when you're snow plowing. Actually, irregardless of the season, it's easy to get stuck with an ATV or side-by-side. And getting you unstuck requires some good equipment, such as a properly rated winch, but equally important, quality ropes and the hardware to attach them to your vehicle. Using a soft shackle offers you the quick and flexible attachment point. It also comes in handy when you don't want to scratch things, and PA has soft shackles that'll pull up to 57,000 pounds. However, the reason there are bow metal shackles are for areas where sharp edges or angles can cut through a soft shackle. So I like to have both on hand to be sure I don't damage anything. During a recovery, having straps always comes in handy, and Ericsson's new line of kinetic ropes are now available at Princess Auto. Working like a rubber band, the kinetic rope stretches during a pull to help take up any jounce in the rope. It has looped ends to hook onto your shackles or tow hooks, and the rope springs back down to the original size after you use it. The extra stretching motion builds up kinetic energy and helps increase peak pulling power. These straps are available in a wide variety of sizes to pull everything from stuck off-road vehicles to full-size farm tractors and everything in between. Now my final stop for the day is over in the tool department, where it's pretty easy for me to get lost and spend some serious time. Honestly, ask my wife, this is the Bermuda Triangle for gearheads. With an impressive selection of pretty much anything you could need for your toolbox, the ProPoint line of tools is a professional grade tool from Princess Auto. I've been using ProPoint tools in the Trail Tech shop since they came out, and while I've got a lot of stuff from them, I always end up looking online and finding something else I could use that's cool or unique. Today, however, I just need a set of shallow sockets, and at PA, they have dozens of socket sets for every budget and job. Now I know that I told you I was here just to pick up a couple of essentials, but can you blame me? Because when you're in a gearhead's haven like this, it's hard not to give in to some of those innermost desires for tools, equipment, and a whole lot more.
Dirt Tracks is sponsored by MBRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap.
Having good riding gear is a huge part of ensuring that you enjoy your riding experience, but most importantly, it's a huge part of ensuring that you stay safe when you're out on the trail. And today I've got a few different products to show you that are not only great for ensuring your safety, but products that go above and beyond. From bringing multiple seasons or riding disciplines to adding increased safety, as well as one product that I can't seem to wreck given my best efforts. Right up front, I've got the Leatt Moto helmet. This one right here is the 7.5 V22, and it features their 360 turbine technology. While we all strive not to crash, it's inevitable that at one point or another, you are going to crash. The 360 turbine technology in Leatt helmets uses molded energy-absorbing disc-shaped implants to dissipate rotational, direct, and deflective impact energy. But essentially what this means is that in all different types of impacts that you may take with your head, from all different directions, these cool little discs will help to significantly reduce head and brain injuries, and I, for one, am all for keeping my brain safe. Leatt helmets with 360 turbine tech come in all different color designs, sizes, and spec levels to fit your budget. The best part about them is that safety doesn't have to lose its cool. These don't just work good, they look great too. While I'm talking about helmets, there's a very cool new offering from CKX that's not just moto, not just motorcycle adventure touring, not just side-by-side friendly, it's all of the above wrapped into one single design to keep you safe, multiple seasons, and multiple off-road disciplines. Now the Atlas is a helmet that can transform to the situations that you need it for, and it offers you greater customization for those different seasons throughout the year. Say you're riding on the road and you prefer not to have a peak. Go ahead, it comes off. Want to switch to off-road? Toss the peak back on. And feel free to extend the peak should the rain or mud get heavy. Prefer to use goggles? No problem. With the push of a button, the shield comes off and you're ready for the CKX 210-degree goggle system, or goggles of your choice. And if you're out riding in the side-by-side and you're looking for a bit more airflow, open the front muzzle or just take it off altogether to get more air inside the helmet when it's hot outside. Available in 8 color configurations, you're sure to match your style, gear, or ride with ease. Now earlier I mentioned a product that I've tried to wreck, and what I mean by that is that while I continue to get given new pairs of Falco boots, I continue to wear my old ones because they're so comfortable, so well worn in, and yet at the same time, not worn out at all. I'm referring to Falco boots. They offer a wide range of motorcycle boots, but the particular ones that I'm talking about are the Patrols, an urban-style motorcycle riding boot that I use whenever I'm driving a side-by-side or riding a motorcycle. This particular set is about 6 years old, and I've got new ones here in boxes, but I literally can't kill these. They have a dual compound vulcanized rubber sole that's comfortable and strong. The tread and rubber footbed is grippy, and yet not soft enough that it's falling apart in the slightest. And the oil-rubbed leather upper portion of the boot is not only waterproof, it's taken a beating of mud, dust, rain, and the occasional gas drip or oil when filling up. Now Falco boots aren't just classic Italian leather style, they're also full of cool technology, and one in particular that I like is called D30. D30 is an impact protection molecule that's applied into the ankle area of Falco boots. It freely moves under slow pressure, but it locks together in a shock load type of situation to help reduce impact energy. Keeps your ankles safer if you take a hit. They also feature a high-tech membrane that keeps your feet dry when you encounter water. And finally, the Patrol boots are just plain good looking. You can wear them out for a ride or out on the town, no matter which color you choose.
Dirt Tracks is sponsored by Princess Auto. Make it work.
Over the past 10 to 15 years, we've seen a number of new side-by-side ATV companies pop up here and there, and it makes a lot of sense. Side-by-side and ATVs, that part of the off-road industry is growing so fast, it makes sense that more companies would want to be involved in that. Now, some of these companies have entered the industry and had great success, and others have flopped miserably. But I have to admit that one of the names popping up recently that really surprised me, a company I would never have expected to get into off-road side-by-sides and ATVs, is Segway. And I gotta admit, right from the get-go, I'm pretty impressed. So what is a Villain? Well, the Villain is Segway's only pure sport entry into the side-by-side or ATV market. It comes in 3 flavors: the Villain SX10E, the SX10X, and the SX10WX. And what sets them apart, the E and the X, it's just a few different features. They're basically the same thing. They're 64 inches wide. They look very close, but there's a few little features here and there that are different. But when you go to the WX, they offer the exact same base platform, except it's 72 inches wide. It has futuristic looks, as you can see just by looking at it. It's not your typical sport side-by-side in terms of looks. The more facetized design of newer side-by-sides are very square and angular. This one is very rounded, and the lines are what I'm going to call swoopy. It looks good though. In person, it's a very good looking side-by-side. And one thing Segway has done really well with the Villain is including all the features that you're going to want to have right from the factory. This is an X. When you go to an E, it's the base model, and it basically has just the bare minimum stuff. But even the E model has a roof, and that's great. They all come with roofs. That's really smart. When you move up to the X model, it comes with the winch and that cool skid plate underneath the winch. You get 29-inch tires on true beadlock wheels. It includes the 10-inch screen. The E model does not include the 10-inch screen in the dashboard. So there's a bunch of stuff you get when you move up to the X that are very worthwhile upgrades and make it really the model to have. Now, if you want to go WX, so get the wide 72-inch version, it has 30-inch tires, but pretty much all the rest of the specs are the same as the X. It's just wider with a slightly bigger tire. These tires look like Bighorns, but they're not. They're Wanda tires. They perform just like a Bighorn, and they work really well in most conditions and pretty much all conditions. They're a very universal tire. They've proven to wear really well, and they give good grip and handle great. So no complaints there. I love that you get real bead locks on here. That's smart. Another thing that you get with the Villain that is so not like its competition, and I think is just an absolutely genius inclusion, is you actually get a trailer hitch, a 2-inch hitch receiver on the back of this vehicle. This vehicle can actually haul 308 pounds in its cargo bed. But here's the number that really stands out to me as being impressive. This vehicle is rated to tow 2,500 pounds. That's actually more towing capacity than a lot of pure utility vehicles on the market today. That's shocking that you can have a sports side-by-side you can haul on the fire roads, hit jumps, run in the desert with, but then also hook on a seriously large trailer if you want to and tow 2,500 pounds. It really makes it a lot more universal and a lot more usable for a lot of different people. The Villain itself is a trailing arm rear suspended, double A arm front suspended, 105 horsepower twin cylinder sport side-by-side. This vehicle is not brand new, and I was actually very pleased when Segway delivered it to us because it has been raced in a very, very serious off-road race. This exact vehicle won its class. So having a vehicle that's got miles on it, especially hard miles, gives me a better impression of how it's going to hold up over long term. Does it rattle? Are there things that are falling off, falling apart, stuff that doesn't work? And I'm very pleased to say that this one has almost no signs of use and certainly no signs of anything degrading over those 600 miles of racing. Segway wasn't messing around when they designed the Villain. Right from the get-go, they did it right with a trailing arm rear suspension. This is reminiscent of all of the top sport side-by-sides on the industry today, and it's actually a very good working suspension system. It is offering 16 inches of travel out back, and then double A arms up front offer 15 inches of travel. Total ground clearance is listed at 14.6 inches, and the vehicle has a 102-inch wheelbase. So it's longer, but not as long as some. The travel numbers are very competitive in the class. There's no issues there whatsoever. And it is suspended off of 4, they're kind of no-name brand shocks, but they're actually very adjustable and have proven to be extremely good quality, and it rides amazing, but it can be tuned to do just about anything. As far as handling is concerned, the Villain seems to handle really well. Pushing this on fast fire roads as hard as I could, it never felt unstable. It never seemed to be lifting the inside wheels when you get great bite on the outside wheels in a corner while you're power sliding. It's predictable. The handling is quick, so when you go from corner to corner really fast at higher speeds, it doesn't want to come around on you, give you any sense of lack of confidence. It's just a very confidence-inspiring side-by-side to ride.
Dirt Tracks has been sponsored by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength. Tire Jet, full tire protection and permanent seal. And by Mad Ramps. Leave the trailer and go.
Now, as good as the Villain SX handles and rides, if it doesn't have good power or the power doesn't feel good, it kind of means nothing in the world of sport side-by-sides. Unfortunately, Segway's nailed this motor. It works really good. It's a 1000cc dual overhead cam, twin cylinder engine, produces a claimed 105 horsepower. So if you put that in the industry and put it up against its competition, it's actually right on point. It's very competitive. It's clutched differently than anything I've experienced before. Most side-by-sides, when you step on the gas, they want to rev right out and hit a red line, even 1000cc twins up in the 76 or 7800 RPM range. But this one seems to shift out to 7,000, right around 7,000 RPM, and just stay there. It sounds in your head like the motor has more in it and wants to pull harder, but it's being limited by the clutches. But after driving it, it doesn't actually feel that way when you're driving it. There are multiple drive modes. It is a drive-by-wire system that is an invisible drive-by-wire system. And by that, I mean, you don't notice that it's drive-by-wire. It feels very much intuitive to push the throttle. The two modes are Eco and Sport. Eco noticeably smooths out your throttle input. So if it's rough, if it's bumpy, if you're rock crawling, you want to be in that mode. And then Sport mode, as you would expect, is much more abrupt power. It comes on faster. As far as the interior of the Villain SX10 is concerned, this is where futuristic design is really noticeable on this vehicle. Now, the outside is swoopy and futuristic as it looks. The inside is where it really comes to light. This is a lot like an automobile. This is a lot like my new Chevy pickup truck in terms of the dash. So your gauge is right here. It tilts with the steering wheel just like it should, just like all modern sports side-by-sides do. But the entire gauge is a digital screen. It's bright, it's easy to read, it has tons of information on it. And then of course, everybody comments on the great big screen in the dash, and this is a big screen in the dash. It does all kinds of things. It'll give you mapping. You can control your Bluetooth music, phone calls. There's a whole screen on how the engine is working, sort of telemetry of the engine. Gives you like power curve, speed, acceleration, torque. It has in a fighter jet, the Horizon kind of thing. It's really neat. I will say that to understand how this works, this does have an audio system built into the screen that uses your phone. It has radio, but it does not include speakers in the vehicle. The intended design is that you have a Bluetooth headset in your helmet. Segway has announced that they will be offering a Bluetooth stereo option. That's something coming up, but you can also adjust a lot of parameters of the vehicle from here, and they've done a good job with that. Now, there is another aspect to technology when it comes to this vehicle, when it comes to all of the Segway off-road vehicles. They have their own app. It connects to the vehicle and gives you all kinds of extra stuff. You can have security, so if your vehicle moves, it will alert you. You can adjust even further parameters, things like your adjustable power steering, which this has adjustable power steering. It can only be adjusted through the app. You can read things that are on your gauges in the app. Lots of different features using the app on your phone, and that's really unique. That's something that nobody else is doing. I think that's smart, and it's something I'd like to see other people do. Now, interior-wise, we've got excellent seats that are reclined at a perfect angle. They're very comfortable for sport riding. They're slider adjustable front and rear. You have 4-point harnesses standard on both seats. However, only the driver's seat has the retractable harnesses. The passenger seat doesn't. I don't like that. I think the passenger seat should have retractable harnesses as well. But it's a small point when you figure that you are getting 4 points in both seats. They've really thought of everything and included all the features that you could possibly want and need. And they've done a good job with how it's styled and designed. I mean, everybody who gets in this thing comes away saying how cool it looks inside, how modern it looks. Now this Villain SX10X or the E or the WX, whichever one you choose, I am thoroughly impressed with this vehicle. I think it's really well built. That's something that has impressed me from front to back, is how high quality it seems to be put together. The gaps in the plastics, the way things are bolted down, the fact that this has 600 miles on it, hard miles, and it doesn't have any rattles anywhere. It doesn't feel loose. It doesn't feel like it's worn out. A lot of today's sports side-by-sides start feeling that way really fast. This one doesn't. That's all super impressive. The power, the handling, the ride quality. When Segway first came to market with their side-by-side offerings, so the Fugleman and the Villain, they announced that they would have a hybrid model of each. And no one's ever done that in the side-by-side industry before. No one's ever heard of a hybrid side-by-side. And so that's what really gained them a lot of attention very quickly. Now, I'm pleased to say that this non-hybrid version, gas only, is good enough to stand on its own against any of its competition. So while many, including myself, expected the combustion-only models to fall short in the face of all the hybrid hype, nothing could be further from the truth. If you're a naturally aspirated 110 horsepower sport side-by-side buyer, I think you're crazy not to give Segway's Villain a serious look. I've been nothing but impressed during all of this testing, and I think you'll probably feel exactly the same way.